Hello! We are opening the second part of the International Volleyball Academy. This section will focus on the technical variations of individual skills that we learned in the first 24 episodes.
We have mastered the basic techniques of setting, passing, spiking, blocking, digging, and serving. What we know and can do is enough for children's volleyball, let's say up to the age of 14. If we want to succeed in competitive and high-level volleyball, we must be able to apply these skills in game conditions. What does that mean? Specifically, it means that players need to adapt their techniques to the situation on the court, have a wide range of solutions, and know what to use and when.
The rally begins with a serve, so we will start there as well. The serve is the first attack, and we want children to have the courage to truly threaten with their serve. That's why we encourage boys, after learning the topspin serve at the age of 12, to immediately move on to the jump serve. They already know how to spike. The only thing left is to master the proper toss. There's something else to add here. The fact that the jump serve hasn't yet surpassed the float serve in women's adult volleyball doesn't mean girls around the age of 14 shouldn't learn it. For both boys and girls, practicing the jump serve simultaneously develops ball control skills. It also enhances another critical skill, attacking after the toss, which is very useful for training blocking and digging.
So let's begin practicing the jump serve. We already know how to spike, so the first focus is the toss. Right-handed players typically toss with their right hand while stepping with their left foot. After the toss, they proceed with the familiar two-step approach used in spiking. For left-handed players, everything is mirrored. We will teach children this rhythm, but we will be sensitive to certain deviations. We see that some right-handed players toss with their left hand and vice versa for left-handers. We can tolerate this, but we will teach the right-handed toss for right-handed players and the left-handed toss for left-handers. The toss is executed with an extended arm, and the wrist imparts backspin to the ball. In these drills, players toss the ball and catch it overhead, first with both hands, then only with the hitting hand. It is important for them to realize that the hit is made above the right shoulder, so they must catch the ball in that spot during the drill.
Next comes the actual hit. Before we get to that, we need to consider what happens before the serve. It is an exceptionally demanding mental situation because the player steps out of the flow of the game and suddenly finds themselves alone. Additionally, unlike a tennis player, they don't get two serves. They must deliver an effective serve at the edge of risk. After all, the serve is the first attack, as we mentioned at the beginning of this episode. For that, they need to concentrate. For this, players use various rituals, whether it's dribbling the ball on the ground, spinning it in their hands, or other personal routines. It is important that we teach players from a young age to always take their time preparing for the serve and not rush. Even the simple act of walking to the starting point of the serve should be focused on concentrating on the action. At the same time, we try to instill courage, especially in children, but also in adults. World star George Groza even says, when stepping up to serve, "This is the moment I'm here for." Of course, it takes time to reach that level. It's not always about serving an ace like the top players in the world.
And now, to the actual hit. The body position and approach steps are very similar to spiking. The only difference is that the player is essentially chasing the ball, as the approach follows the trajectory of the ball after the toss. In contrast, with spiking, the approach cuts across the ball's trajectory after the set. With a poor toss, there is a risk that the player won't reach the ball and will hit it in front of themselves rather than above their head. In practicing the jump serve, we follow the same procedure from episode 18 on the topspin serve from the ground. We start by attacking after our own toss, gradually moving back from the net to 3, 6, and 9 meters. If the hit doesn't work, especially with children, we move closer to the net. There's no need to rush. The goal isn't to master the jump serve at all costs, but to learn how to control the ball properly. For this reason, we repeatedly include the so-called lob and roll shots. The key aspects we focus on at this stage are the coordination of the jump, timing, arm movement, and wrist action.
In terms of technical details, we would emphasize 2 key points. First, the approach for the jump serve must be fast and dynamic, just like for a spike. This also means that the approach must lead into the court, and if combined with a dynamic run-up, the player will land deep inside the court. Second, the ball must be struck above the head, not in front of the body, to ensure the correct trajectory. This relates to the position of the right shoulder, which should be further from the net than the left shoulder before the hit, just like with spiking. The reason is clear: the shoulder line must rotate during the hit to give the serve enough power. We remind that in the final phase of the hit, the wrist imparts the proper direction and spin to the ball. However, this can only happen if the ball is struck directly overhead. If the ball is in front of the serving player, the wrist would naturally direct it downward into the net. Before we wrap up, let's look at several different variations of the jump serve performed by both men and women.
The rally begins with the serve, which is the first attack, and we want children to be bold and truly threaten with their serve. We primarily guide boys to transition from the topspin serve they learned at age 12 directly to the jump serve. For both boys and girls, practicing the jump serve also develops ball control skills. It also enhances another key skill, attacking after their own toss. We already know how to spike, so the new focus is on the toss, which is performed with an extended arm, and the wrist imparts backspin to the ball. Players use various rituals to prepare for serving, and it is important that we teach them from a young age to always take their time in preparation and not rush. The approach for the jump serve must be fast and dynamic, just like for a spike. The ball must be hit above the head, not in front of the body. The toss should lead into the court, and when combined with a dynamic approach, the player will land deep in the court. And what's next? Variations of the jump serve, such as short serves and those with side spin. Further tactical uses of the jump serve. The increasingly common hybrid serve in 2 variations. We'll also look at how the biggest stars in world volleyball serve.
And that's really all for today. If you like our show, give us a like and subscribe. And don't forget to comment. We will definitely answer all your questions and suggestions. Take care.